ahead. You have 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Yes, because I find some congruence with Dr. Miller, given that I'm also a religious liberty or a PAL director. And I do know, Dr. Hemmings, that you have had this question on the board for a while, and it may seem that there is a slight to respond to the question, but I can say generally that through the Religious Liberty Department and there's a strong level of agitation taking place within the Seventh Adventist Church to speak to the issues of injustice that are prevalent around the world, not only in one part of the world, but that are prevalent in all parts all around the world. There are two approaches that we can take. There is activism and there is advocacy. Activism is, the protests and the outward things that are associated with that. But advocacy can mean that a person's right or a particular group in society, their rights have been trampled upon. Advocacy would mean that the church leaders can meet with the persons in authority that operate the institution that have been trampling on the people's rights, and using the boardrooms instead of the streets to accomplish the changes. Because usually when our leaders are in the boardroom, there are people out on the streets, So we take a soft approach, and sometimes we take a hard approach. So people look at the church and say that the church is not doing anything, and that is not altogether correct, because the church is involved in extensive ways in advocacy. I believe, though, that there is coming a time, and we are fastly approaching that time, when the church must take more of an activist approach to some of the injustices that are prevailing in our society. But it is not to say that the church is not doing anything or that the church is silent.